there's so much money missing. It's in the billions now. It's bigger than the entire GDP of Somalia, just from Minnesota, allegedly.
Wild.
The entire GDP of a country, one state's fraud is supposedly over the course of, X amount of days that they did this.
And is it true that the guy that uncovered it was kind of like some guy? Like it was
this
like
Nick Shirley kid?
Yeah, this like internet
young kid, yeah.
Good for him.
I'm so exhausted in trying to ask what any of this, information has led to you finding any criminals that you have indicted that explains why you are wasting so much of our taxpayer resources and also terrorizing our communities in the amount of federal law enforcement agents that you have in the streets of our city and our state. There needs to be some sort of justification.
If you thought the fraud was limited to the Somalis and to the Minnesota government, you were wrong. I'm about to blow your mind because it goes to the government as well. First, let me explain to you that there is a law that your cash can be confiscated by a law enforcement officer, federal, state, doesn't matter. If you're driving in your car, let's say, and you've got $5,000, you're going to buy something and you're paying cash, and you get pulled over, and the cop sees the cash sitting on the side seat next to you and asks what it's for. He doesn't like your answer. He could confiscate that cash. So keep that in mind. They've got the discretion to do that. So now imagine this. You're working at the TSA in Minneapolis, and every single day, not once, not twice, every single day, nonstop, there is a Somali courier that's coming in with luggage, and in that luggage is $1 million. $1 million every day. Somali's going, is declaring it, saying I'm pulling it out, and the TSA says nothing. Doesn't stop them, doesn't confiscate it like they would your money if you were driving in a car and a cop didn't like what you had to say. Every single day. Shooting out overseas. Now keep in mind that in Somalia, the number one industry in Somalia is a tie between livestock and money remittances. Remittances meaning the money that's coming from Joey Somali, sending it over to Al-Shabaab, the terrorist network. That is their top way of getting money in the country of Somalia. Now, to add insult to injury, Senator Joni Ernst just told the story about how it is that Ilhan Omar earmarked $1 million in a spending bill. She wanted the $1 million for a substance abuse clinic. Now, here's the kicker. That abuse clinic in Minneapolis was located inside of a restaurant. And the operators of that restaurant all register their IRS forms under one home address. Folks, we're getting stolen from, and all we're getting is BS hearings. The Trump administration must keep people accountable now.
What's going on, ARP family? Pull up a chair. We need to talk for a minute. We've all experienced hard times, right? We've all been there. Lord knows I've had my share. But here's the truth nobody likes to say out loud. The system isn't broken, it's built to keep you stuck. If you're drowning in credit card balances, personal loans, collections, or medical bills, that's not misfortune, that's strategy. Debt is big business. Banks fatten their pockets while you struggle to stay afloat. Creditors win the moment you lose. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay in their trap. Stared down overwhelming debt myself, and I remember hoping someone would point me in the direction of some real help. And that's why today I'm telling you about PDS Debt, because they're exactly the kind of support I needed back in the day. They've already helped hundreds of thousands of people escape the chokehold of credit card debt, personal loans, collections, and medical bills. But here's the best part. There's no minimum credit score. They take the time to understand your unique situation and build a plan just for you. This is not a cookie cutter situation. That means saving more, paying off faster, and finally putting money back where it belongs, which is your pocket. This isn't some fly-by-night operation either. PDS Debt is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. That's real people finding real freedom. You guys are 30 seconds away from being debt-free. Get your free assessment right now at pdsdebt.com/wise. That's pdsdebt.com/wise. Take back control of your finances today. Let's get back into the video.
Minnesota goes way beyond just fraud. Minnesota is an ongoing criminal terrorist enterprise, in my opinion. It starts with Ilhan Omar, who actually she wrote the legislation that allowed for COVID funds to go to places like Feeding Our Future and all of the Somali daycares. She wrote the bill. She wrote the bill without guidelines. She's the one who, and then she goes on national TV and says, well, the problem is that we have no guidelines on the money. You wrote the bill. And so she wrote it without guidelines. And then I believe, this is alleged, this is my opinion, she actively recruited and educated her Somali compatriots how to game the system, knowing that they had a fraudulent governor in Tim Walz who was going to turn a blind eye or actively participate, at which he did, because he persecuted the whistleblowers. Anybody who blew a whistle on this fraud, if they were a government employee, they lost their job, they lost their pension, they were followed by police, they had CPS show up at their house. This is $9 billion worth of money that has gone, yes, to big houses and fancy cars, but hundreds of millions, if not billions of it, has been transmitted out of the country to Al-Shabaab, which is a terrorist organization. And again, this comes back to the abject failure of the DOJ. Now, I'll give them a pass on this one because we haven't seen the end of this. Because Besant said, one of the best news I saw about a week and a half ago was Besant got up and said, I'm investigating. The Treasury is investigating the money. We're going to track it. We're going to know where every dollar went. When that happens, if the DOJ does not arrest hundreds of people, not on fraud charges, but on terrorism charges, they need to bring the FBI, they need to bring Homeland, and they need to start prosecuting people for aiding and abetting or financing terrorism under, as much as I hate the Patriot Act, they need to be prosecuting them under the Patriot Act. And these people need to go to prison for life or need to be renditioned to Guantanamo. Mm-hmm. Because that's what this is, an ongoing criminal enterprise to fund terrorism. And Ilhan Omar is complicit, in my opinion. Tim Walz is complicit, in my opinion. Attorney General of Minnesota is complicit, in my opinion. This goes way deeper than any of that. And Ilhan Omar, I believe, is up trying to cover her tracks because, yes, she's been fronting for this thing from the beginning.
Yes.
And when she talks about, there's been no prosecution, what are you talking about? There's been at least 87 people indicted and prosecuted for this thing, of which 78 of them are Somalis. Mm-hmm. This was started and run out of the Somali community for the specific act of getting rich and funding Al-Shabaab, and they all need to go to prison for an extended period of time, in my opinion.
No pushback from me, Dave. I'll give you the next word, but I want to say this. These fools are out there driving Lamborghinis in the snow. This is crazy.
Wise, that man was picked over Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro to be, if Kamala had been elected, a heartbeat away from the Oval Office. This is a man who let the Twin Cities burn after George Floyd was killed. And also, this is a man who thinks that boys can be girls, and because they can be girls, then they need to have tampons in their bathroom because they have such a strong, if the Christian community had such a belief that they can make a biological boy menstruate, man, listen, there would be a revival all across this country. If we had that, that goes beyond a mustard seed. That's the entire French's mustard factory of belief. Because you're born a boy, but you need tampons in the boys' bathroom because you identify as a girl.
Madness.
I need to start identifying as Elon Musk's replacement so I can get his money bin. This is absolute insanity. Right. And what kills me, and this is coming from a person that does crisis management, public relations, marketing, it's not that they created a crisis with this Renee Good, say her name, nonsensical stuff. And it's tragic that that woman lost her life. But aside from this morning, I ain't hear nobody talk about these Somalians, these daycares with no children, these non-emergency medical transport companies that with vehicles that never move, these healthcare in-home medical aid companies that have absolutely no clients, but the millions are being funded, and we keep stopping at the Somalis and not looking at the white liberals, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, who are probably behind this slush fund money laundering, which doesn't just go to Al-Shabaab. It also goes to Bobby and Sarah and Becky and Chris, not that Chris, but generally speaking. So at what point do we not get outraged about that? Where are the marches in the streets for the money that has been pilfered from the tax-paying Americans? And how come it's so interesting that just last week Tim Walz says he's not going to seek re-election, mainly due to all of the scandal, and now because this woman decides to run or bump into or impede or block an ICE officer and she gets pum, we're not talking about that anymore. We're also not talking about the fact that Tampon Tim, Coach Tim, I understand white guys, I have yet to meet a white man with control of his gonads who thinks that Tim Walz is a good representation of them. Why did he take out the Minnesota flag and replace it with a Somali flag? Said, oh, that's better.
Yes.
I thought we were in America.
Come on.
So who are we serving here? And I want anybody who is talking about, oh, well, you know, Dave just dragging him because he don't like Kamala. I like Kamala more than y'all did, because when she was running in 2024 president, I donated to her. You know why she dropped out from running for president before Iowa? Because the 92%, all the ski-wee and perm, all the HBCU grads, all the sister girls that really wanted to break the glass ceiling and see a black woman in position, didn't give her a dime. So now we got that out of the way. Can we get back to the facts that this is a slush fund Ponzi scheme? And if it was any place else, they would be dragging these morons into a courtroom in chains, and it would be televised bigger than the OJ trial. But because it's Minnesota, don't you know, we're not saying anything. Man, y'all need to sit down and go somewhere.
You know, this is exactly why we have to have a wholesale abandonment of the nanny state. Wherever you have big government, corruption is always tethered to it. The founders knew it. This is why they limited the authority of government, and they enumerated only 19 areas in which the federal government and governments were to function. And what you have now in places like Minnesota, and we all suspect, and hopefully will be proven correct, that Minnesota is just the tip of the spear, but it is there is more out there than that. This level of blatant kind of disregard. Whoever thought you could put money in a suitcase and go on a plane and fly with $1 million cash dollars in single bills, like you know, you go into the Somali strip club? This is insane that they have allowed this kind of stuff. They're going to go to Somalia and make it rain all over the terrorist groups. This is absolutely insane. And the only reason we are able to do this is because we have persons in leadership like Tim Walz, like Mayor Frey, like Ilhan Omar, who are seated in their positions at all points, blocking any type of accountability, providing every kind of explanation and diversion so that the people can't see it. So I'm going to be like Mr. Danzel. I'm back on my high horse, and I'm saying the way out of this is exposure.
That's right.
The Trump administration, the federal government, Pam Bondi and Kash Patel they're running, trying to seal up leaks in the floor, and there are too many leaks to seal. That may be true. I don't know. However, again, sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. They must be exposed. They must be exposed. When you expose them, you will automatically stop this corruption, or at least limit its ability to function at the mass grand scale at which it is, because there'll be no place for them to hide. People will see these people, couriers, coming in with these boatloads and suitcases of money, and ask themselves, well, wait, where is this going? And Americans will begin to become infuriated that
Yes.
this is how they are being abused by
Yes.
their own leadership. It is one thing for people outside of the country to have feelings towards the America. It is another thing for your neighbors, your friends, the people you have elected to be the ones to tell you it's time to bend over and take the beating and take the punishment. This is absolutely insane, but it is our fault. We are going to, unfortunately, if we cannot depend on our government to expose them, we are going to have to all go the Nick Shirley route.
Come
And
on.
ourselves in our own municipalities where we live, where we know where the dirt is going on and we know what rock to kick over, we're going to have to shine the light and say, see here, these
right.
people cannot be left to do their dirt. They are intent on bankrupting this country.
Yes.
They are intent. When they said defund the police, no, they want to defund America.
Yes.
Because they do not want America to exist as it has. And out of chaos comes order. And they have a plan.
They can take over. That's right.
Once they get the level of chaos they want.
That's right.
Absolutely. I don't know if you guys saw the bags. They have pictures of the cash in suitcases that were being taken through security. I'm telling you, Dave, Minister Danzel, if you try to roll through, it looked like dope money. If you tried to roll through any airport in America with a duffel bag with money wrapped up in, rubber bands, I'm telling you, it looked like dope money. And they allowed this money to flow through. We're talking $3.75 million or $1 billion in the year that was 2024. We don't know what it was for 2025. That was just 24. We're talking about a third of Somalia's GDP.
Yes.
From our country. And what's really infuriating is the fact that they're not even wire transferring it. These people are old school.
Oh.
I thought I was watching Blow. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was watching Blow from back in the day, the way they were taking money on airports. I'm like, this is crazy. They're on airplanes with duffel bags of cash with rubber bands wrapped around it. Like this is the dope game from the 60s or 70s. It makes absolutely no sense, man.
Why is it so difficult for them to start nailing people, and I mean big name people, and exposing them? You see, I mean, I don't see how Ilhan and Walz are still publicly talking and free. I don't understand. With the technology we have today, they should have been exposed and put on blast and actually prosecuted a long time ago. So my point is that one of the things that emboldens these people is because this process is so slow. And there's so little media putting people on blast in media and saying, listen, yeah, we're coming after you. We have this on you. You know what they did with Trump, right? They were putting stuff out in advance. I mean, they were putting they were doing, I mean, everybody was, he's a felon. We should be doing the same thing to these criminals because there's so much money and so much corruption that it should be, we should be overwhelmed with exposure. So my point is there's a slow process that's killing me.
Yeah.
I mean,
this also is a showcase of it just showcases liberal media or corporate media, mainstream media, whatever you want to call them. It shows that they're in on the grift. They're in on this.
They're getting paid, man. Yeah.
Because instead of doing their job, what Nick Shirley did and what he showcased about 2 weeks ago, he made corporate media look very bad. He made them look very bad.
Yes.
He did the job that they should have been doing all along. He did the job that I think most Americans assumed that they would do. They're no longer in the business of informing the people. And to be honest with you, I don't know if they were ever in the business of keeping the people informed. Dave, did you want to get in there real quick?
Yeah, very quickly. And again, I'm very, very clear about this because people will do this thing where they want to be all inclusive. Oh no, we're all black people. No. If your forehead is in the shape of a light bulb or that alien from American Dad, and you're walking around saying and identifying as, look at me, I'm the captain now. Listen, I am a law-abiding citizen with plenty of law enforcement in my family, and I get patted down at the airport all the time.
Yeah.
For just having an ounce more of body wash, because once I unbig my back, I still have that that stigma in my head that I'm afraid that big people stink. So I shower a lot. Right, I'm on tour. You understand what I'm saying? I like certain body wash because hotel body wash just don't be hitting and it dries your skin out. I'm black. Okay, I'm black. So I could not imagine. Do you know what I could do if I could get half of that bag in there? It's like everybody just lost their minds and listened to Play a Circle. It says a galley gets a naughty little duffel bag, light bulb heads. I'm trying to understand how this continues to happen, Wise. And when I say something, I'm being over the top. I'm not understanding. I'm being divisive. Black lives, I'm sorry, by large mansions. These people are corrupt in such a way
everywhere
that they can't get. If Donald Trump did half of this,
come on,
they would not have to take misdemeanors and turn them into 34 felonies and say that he's a convicted felon. Tampon Tim literally SA'd somebody allegedly for entertainment purposes only, and this dude is you know why it happens? Do you know? Okay, here's why it happens. Because everybody who is in power to enforce the law is getting paid. Yes. My daddy, God rest his soul, would say, money talks, BS runs a marathon. Tampon Tim and his band of merry paid under the table cronies that have Somali flags behind them and the American flag damn near off stage right are running around like Usain Bolt and running with the money. That's how that happens. There's no way that happens on your watch unless you're getting paid or you're inept. And in this case, Tampon Tim is both. But again, what do I know? I'm over the top. I'm sitting up here. I'm being divisive. I don't love my people. I'm a Trump supporter. What else you gonna throw about me? I'm tired of it, guys. I'm tired. I'm just trying to figure out what I lied about.
What I'll say is somebody who used to work in the airline. The whole entire TSA is getting the kickback, or the people they have somebody that they tap on the shoulder. So we need to now go investigate the scams in there, because you cannot. Right. I remember working in the airline. I remember what it was like, because I used to work for an airline, and I had friends within TSA. I would see when I would have to go down and watch bags go through the TSA belt as TSA checks it. So understand, if they're checking the bag and they're seeing all of this money and they're letting it slide through, they're getting paid too. And as people keep pointing out, the Somalian IQ is like what, 68 or whatever their IQ is at this point.
They ain't doing it on their own.
They're not doing this on their own. They're not doing this on their own. And people fail to realize they're not doing this on their own. I just watched something. I went to look at something online because last week, I was on another show, and we looked up that there was this restaurant, Albee Kitchen, that was in Minneapolis, that was in the same building as the Quality Learning Center. It was in the same building. How about we watched it on Google Maps, and I told everybody, because we have the video and everything, how in the world were they able to put a kitchen in the same section as a daycare? You can't put those two. As somebody that works in commercial real estate, you cannot put those two together. The coding does not work. That's not allowed. You can't put a kitchen and a daycare in the same place, right? How about if you go Google it now? They've erased name. That store is now moved. The kitchen is moved, and now they have Quality Learning Center all over the building. Like they just changed that just like that. So even within the municipalities, they're involved in it. They're getting paid because somebody pointed out that something's wrong with that, and they went and they fixed it because people were talking about it.
You don't want no attention.
Their dirt is so deep. Listen. There are a lot of people being paid by this. There are a lot of people at all levels in all different areas that are being paid off by this, and they're taking the money and they're staying quiet. And that is why it is necessary, as my sister Celeste says, as Mr. Denzel, as everyone has said, expose, and then expel. I don't want to see y'all just talking and then walk off. I don't want to hear just talk. I need to see action. As Dave just said, they were able to take a bunch of misdemeanors and say that Trump is a felon now. Right. let us give them the same energy. That's what I'm saying. When you're not punishing these people, expose and punish. Because understand, free will, we have freedom, but you're not free from consequences. These people have to pay for their actions because they're stealing from American taxpayers, period, point blank.
I want to hear from you guys, man. What are your thoughts on all of this? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family or buy your brother a coffee. That link's in the description box below. Appreciate you guys, man. And as always, keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.